All right, here's our Japanese 20X motor. So what we're gonna be doing to start with is removing all the miscellaneous hoses, systems off of this. We will be removing the compressor bracket, and we're gonna keep the power steering alternator. Another thing that we gotta do here is remove all the wiring, coil plugs, and intake manifold. So that's gonna be the next thing up here before we can retime it and delete the exhaust AVCS. So as you can see here, we have our plastic cam gears from the single AVCS WRX engine ready to go back on. We tapped out these holes using our 1023 tap, put the plugs in. So those are all chased, ready to go. Clean the threads out, no metal particulate in there. Use the vacuum to suction that out. Swapped over the cam seals as well. Those normally have the larger outer diameter for the single AVCS or for the AVCS cam gear, but we swapped it over to the standard WRX exhaust cam seal for both. And we should be ready to go. Check back when it's all timed up. Just to kind of recap here, we've got our new water pump thermostat. We also have our belt, idler pulleys, some miscellaneous seals. We got the new tensioner. Also, we got our spec sheet here that gives us all the torque specs for all the various bolts from the factory service manual. Spark plugs, we got red Loctite and a torque wrench. So what we're gonna do here is, we got the motor here, if it'll focus. So as of right now, I gotta pull off the timing, or I'm sorry, the water pump, and pretty much ready to time here. As you can see, last night what we did was we plugged off the AVCS oil ports behind these cams, and then we plugged them. We put the correct seal in, which is for a WRX, basically anything that's single AVCS, some of the earlier STIs in the WRX from 08 to 14, and then did that on both sides. Actually went ahead and replaced the cam seal as well for the intake on both sides. And then what we're gonna do now is we're gonna time this motor, put the new water pump on, and I'm gonna do a short time lapse here of that process. Got the timing pretty much all buttoned up here. Company 23 tools come in fantastic for this. Anybody that's timed an EJ motor knows that those two dual overhead cams want to spin all the time on you. It can be real pain in the butt without that specific timing tool. So thankfully what that does is you put it on here, it goes inside the cam bolt, and you lock these two here, and you can hold it in the positions that you need them. So that works out really nice. What you want to do is use a little bit of red Loctite on pretty much all these bolts that attach to for timing components. You do not want them to back out. You jump time. These are interference motors, and they will bend valves and do a lot of carnage that isn't the best. So this is a good time. Once you get it all on, double check all your torque specs. These ones, I think the spec is 28. I always go to just 30 foot-pounds for these guys. It also calls out for 30 foot-pounds on this little 12 millimeter head. I never do that. I always stick with it calls out for 18.1, I think, foot-pounds. So I'll do 20 on both of these guys. Really don't like the idea of all that torque on that little bolt. So 20 on those. And then you have to put your little spacer in here to correctly offset that timing component there. But yeah, so you could double check these again. We torqued them down last night, but we can just start right here at top dead center. So you got your little mark there, good. Kind of move along up here, cam gear. So you got the double markers on each cam there, and the single goes right up to that notch right there, all in line with the belt. Moving down, so we got the single mark there, in line with the belt to there. And then you come over to the other side. We got the double marks, kind of hard to see. We got them on both cams. Got the inline mark here, and that goes all the way back to the timing cover. And then up top here, we got the cam intake passenger cam inline here, and that goes to that mark right back to beginning. So we're all in time here, pretty much ready to pull the pin here and button pretty much everything up. So I'm gonna put you back on time lapse here. Moving on the spark plugs now. So I got the old ones out, as you can see there. Now, what I recommend, I always run the one step colder NGK plugs. That's part number 2309. Get them off Rock Auto. They physically fit in the cylinder head here, just like the old ones that came out. The old ones that came out were probably okay to run, but it's one of those while you're in here jobs. So what I like to do is also gap that electrode, if it'll focus, to 28 thousandths. So that's 0.028. So we're pretty much all wrapped up with this WRX build. We went ahead and did the SF Cobb intake, Crawford air oil separator in the back, upgraded top mount, electronic 3-port boost control solenoid, a new turbo inlet, kind of all those things that you want to do while you're in there. We do have a turbo excess blow-off valve. It's fully recirculative, but if it does leak, we will be swapping that out with the factory unit. But as you can see here, pretty much the engine is back in, fully operational. We did a new clutch kit as well when we put it back in. So it's a full NVIDIA downpipe Tomai single exit exhaust. And then also on the VF52, we did the billet CHRA compressor housing. So we rebuilt that turbo. So it should be ready for the tune now. We got the base map loaded on. Can give you a startup video here. I use open source pretty much exclusively to tune these vehicles. There's no limitations. Cobb now with the green speed limits you to what you can and can't do on the tunes, and I really don't agree with that. As you can see here, so here we'll give you a video of the exhaust.
starting the engine. Just good practice if these motors have been sitting a while. It's smart to do. Overall, this project came out really well. Still needs some aesthetic mods and clean it up, but it came out really well.